like that. I 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 like that.
Great evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another powerful episode of the Victim No More podcast. My name is Bobby Patterson, aka Bobby P, coming to you from the beautiful state of North Carolina. And I don't know about you, but it's like hot here. Like, I don't know where you live at, but it's hot here. And I done about had enough of that already. So I'm ready to move on to fall, but that's not how these seasons are set up. So I guess we just gonna have to endure. But look, of course, I have another powerful story, an incredible guest that's going to share their story, their journey, the inner workings of their transformation, and how they have gotten from where they started to where they are today. And the whole goal is to show the transition from going from being victimized and maybe perhaps even becoming a victim and going through that transition to becoming victorious. And this is no different. Trust and believe. This story is amazing. And before I bring our guest on today, I just want to drop a short video package so you can get a feel as to who we're going to be blessed by today.
But I want to come and just say that I am so thankful. I am so grateful this morning, because when I look back over my life and I begin to think things over, and I look at where I've come from, and I look at the things that I've had to go through, look at the struggles that I've had to go through, look at the things that have happened to me, and I look at where I'm at now, it was nothing but God. So right after this song played, Corinne Hawthorne, Won't He Do It, came on. And I would tell you, I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. We need each other, especially during these times right now, people. We truly need each other. All this hate that's going on in the world, all this killing that's going on in the world, COVID-19 that's happening all over the world. We need each other. I love you. I need you to survive. Uplift somebody today. Tell somebody that you love them. Your words can make a big difference in somebody's life.
Please welcome Miss Twailla Copeland to the Victim No More podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are honored to have you here this evening. How are you doing? Think you may have muted yourself. Okay, I think we have us a little technical difficulty. She's going to log right back in. That was quick. Yes, there she is.
All right, can you
All right,
hear
we
me?
good now?
Yes, awesome. But I am well. I'm absolutely amazing. I feel amazing. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good now that you're back. Yeah, I'm good. So
Yeah.
that was a quick turnaround. So yeah, I'm thankful for that. So it's all good. It's all good. And you know, the how you came to us, and I wasn't even aware, of course, you know, going through and becoming a 2021 transformation contest winner in Houston. Sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, and going through the process of the after that event, I've met a lot of amazing people, and I've you know got a lot of friend requests after the event, and there were a few that actually stood out. You were one of them. And as I went through and actually started just looking at some pictures and looking at some videos, and I was like, man, she's powerful, very powerful. And I just knew immediately there was a story, and there was a story beyond the pictures that I was actually viewing. And you know, how this podcast even came about, it's not even something that I had planned. It was like an assignment has been given to me, and you're part of how this assignment is unfolding. So I am honored, I am privileged, and just this is amazing that you would even take the time out to share your story this evening. Of course, there's always a start to how these stories begin. And I always like to start before there was total life changes. You know, who was Twailla before total life changes? As you know, I see that you're a nurse, so that just speaks volumes all within itself. You have the patience of Job. I already know that already. Just being a nurse, that takes a lot of people skills. But just kind of take us a little bit as to who was Twailla before total life changes.
Okay, I sure will. But I first want to say I'm honored, I'm privileged that you even reached out for me to be able to grace your platform. So I'm truly honored to be here. And again, thank you. But who was Twailla before total life changes? Well, I am a nurse. I am a mother of 4. And before total life changes, I can say that I had had some ups and downs in life, you know, just living life, going through life. And right before total life changes, I felt like I was probably about in the worst place of my life mentally. I felt that way spiritually. I felt that way emotionally. I definitely felt that way physically because it was starting to show in my health. But right before, I can say that I thought that I was happy. You know, pictures say 1,000 words, and just looking at the video, even that you showed, I remember each and every last picture. that you showed. And the pictures can hide. It can tell 1,000 words, but it can hide 1,000 words as well. And so I just remember, let's say 5 years prior to TLC, let's just break it down in that span. I had just finished nursing school. So that took an emotional toll. That took a physical toll on my health that a lot of people don't realize. Going through nursing school is very rough. But what I was going through in my personal life, I had just had my last child right before TLC, and I had just gotten married. And to most people, that's supposed to be some of the happiest moments of your life. Well, for me, it turned out not to be. And I say that because, a few days after I got married, I found out some things concerning my health I didn't expect. Then I had my child. And I found out that as a newlywed, my husband had stepped outside of our marriage and a child was created. And so,
okay, I don't mean to cut you off, because that all by itself could be a topic on its own. So what you're saying is that here it is, you are newly married, like the ceremony hasn't even finished completing, so to speak, out of the air. It's still in the atmosphere. And then you find this out. That could be devastating all within itself. That's wow. Continue.
It was at that point, it was fearful. I was scared, of course, at that time. I was pregnant. So I was truly scared. And if we fast forward like 3 months later, I had my child. And during a 10-day period, I found out that one of them was created inside of our marriage. And so that took another emotional toll on me. And at that point, my faith was still strong. I was still leaning and dependent on God. And I'm like, what is happening? I don't know what is going on, but however it is, God used me. And so I chose to stay in my marriage because I felt like and the word tells us what God puts together, no man can tear apart. And
Right.
So I was married. My vows were important. And so I decided to stay. Well, within staying, it caused an emotional roller coaster because of what happened. I kind of started becoming an introvert because prior to this, I like people. I love people. I love to help people. I love to be around people. I'm a family oriented person. And so when this occurred, I was living in Virginia at the time. I stopped coming back to North Carolina. So I wasn't seeing my family. I was in Virginia by myself. So I had no family there. But I thank God for the circle of friends and group of people that he put into my life at that particular time. But spiritually, I felt myself just dwindling because later when I did go to counseling to find out that what I was going through was like a PTSD. And so it caused some childhood issues to come back into my adult life. And so imagine just questioning your self-worth, questioning who you are, questioning, like, why me? And that was my question to God. Why me? Why me? And to have childhood hurt and trauma come to the forefront. And when I say that, I was molested as a child. And so what I was going through at that point in my life brought back old memories. For whatever reason, it brought them back. And so it was almost like I was reliving some moments. There were periods where I blacked out, like I don't remember. because it was almost like I kind of had checked out, but I was still physically here.
Right.
And going through that caused me to begin to question my faith and just why. And so my initial journey to try to get myself back together started as a spiritual journey.
Okay.
And to be in an emotional place to where you no longer want to be here. I tried to take my own life. I felt like I wasn't even worthy enough for my children. And to feel that low, like you're not worthy enough for your children, that bothered me. And so this spiritual journey really came to where I'm thankful again for the group of people that I had around me. I'm grateful for the church up there that I had started attending, because that gave me back my sense of hope when I lost hope, because I truly lost hope.
Of course, you're familiar as far as what I had revealed on stage in front of the world, dealing with my own childhood trauma, unfortunately, is very, similar to yours. When you're talking about when you start dealing with these issues in adulthood, and then all of a sudden you come to find out that what should have been properly dealt with from your childhood is coming back to revisit you. It's like you're battling 360 degrees. It's like
Right.
it's something that you're always fighting. You can't turn around real good, and there's something else. And so I can totally identify when you got to that place where you was literally thinking, okay, man, this ain't really worth it. I can't deal. And I know there are some individuals who are watching this right now. You might be in that place. Trust and believe. Reach out to somebody. Tell somebody there's help out here. There's plenty of help out
Absolutely.
here. And the very things that we think that we can handle, we can't handle. We're not designed to walk through this life alone. That's not what this is about. But the enemy will play tricks with your mind and disturb your spirit to the point where you don't feel like you have any options. So I am glad that you had a support system there that would not allow you to go but so far. And that is so very, very important.
Absolutely. And I always say that I'm thankful for it, because I know the feeling of feeling like you don't have anybody, because even though I had that support, I still felt like I didn't have anybody. I didn't have my family. There were things that my family didn't know, not even my own mother, didn't know it was what I was going through, because I kept it hidden. And so to have that support, to have that help, there was a true blessing. And to not have it, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. But that is something that truly helped me along the way. And also going to counseling, because I was raised in a household to where you don't tell nobody your business. You don't do this, you don't do that. But the moment I got in counseling, I knew it was for me. I needed it. And I always sought a spiritual counselor, someone who could give me biblical knowledge as well. And so that was something that also allowed my spiritual growth to start moving in the right direction, because I knew before I could make any other change in my life, I had to do that first. And it all started with me making that decision, because I got to a point to where I was just sick and tired of being miserable, sick and tired of feeling like I can't get up out of this hole. And so to have the counseling, to have the group of support, but then me really crying out, begging God, something has to change. I need something to change. And that's when I found Total Life Changes.
Okay.
And
And you get ready to go into how you got connected to total life changes, but I just want to make it clear, and whoever's watching this live, and also too on the replay, there is a narrative that has really went through our community. And when I say community, black folk,
Mm-hmm.
and especially with black men, we were never encouraged to go to counseling. Counseling was looked upon as a sign of weakness. Take it from someone who had finally gotten to a place where I was just tired of being tired of being broken, and I wanted to live. Please, that narrative is dead. Go
Mm-hmm.
get the counseling. Talk to someone who is equipped to be able to help you walk through some solutions, so we can go ahead and live our life and do the things that we were called and ordained to do, so we can help someone else. Because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be here on this platform today having this discussion with such a powerful woman. So please get the counseling. Go ahead, Twaila.
Yes, and I just have to piggyback on that because you're right. That is a narrative in our community, in the African American community, and it's a narrative that is almost like a cycle we have to break
Mhm.
because so many people are hurting because they don't have anybody to talk to.
Mhm.
So, and I'm with you, and I see Miss Levels find one that you're comfortable with, and that's what I literally had to do. I had to find one that I was comfortable with,
Right.
and so I thank you for even putting that out there as a Black man, because we all need that help.
Mhm.
But that change, the counseling, like I said, I knew something else was for me. I didn't know what my purpose was,
Mhm.
but I knew I had one. I
Right.
knew I was on a mission to find it, and it had become by any means necessary that I had to get myself together. And with that, it came, like I said, me asking God and really just begging out and crying out, saying, I need something.
Right.
Why? I need it. I need it. And at that point, having 4 children, being 30 years old, um, because of the mental place I had been in, my
Mhm.
physical health began to suffer. And it came with blood pressure issues. It came with being overweight. It came with me being super tired, not being able to play with my kids, not being able to just be the mom that they needed me to be. And then I found out I needed to have a surgery. And at 30 years old, for the doctor to say, we can't do this because of your health, because of blood pressure issues, and we're scared you may not make it off the table. At 30, as a nurse, I'm like, what am I doing? I began that conversation with myself, like, Twaila, what is going on? And I had to take a moment and take a self evaluation. And I think a lot of times we as people, we don't stop to take that moment to ourselves to
Right.
self evaluate. And it's so important because if you don't, I've learned that you're going to damage yourself. Because if anyone's like me, I'm always there for other people. I'm always doing for other people. And I never take that time for myself. And so to take that moment to reevaluate, it put a lot of things in perspective. And so that crying out to God, that begging God, something has to change. Help me.
Mhm.
However, whatever you send my way to help me because I needed that help. I needed it. And that's when total life changes, like I said, came into place about 3 years ago for me. And initially, it was a physical detoxification.
Okay.
But because I was already on the spiritual journey, I understood warfare. I understood some things that just need to be prayed off of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I say I kind of did like a spiritual detoxification, getting
Right.
some things and getting rid of some things that was holding me back in the spirit realm. And then that mental detoxification, because I had to get my mind right and I had to let go of the negativity. I had to let go of the negative thoughts. I had to get rid of the things that were holding me back in my mind.
Well,
And go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just listening to your story is amazing because of the process and the steps that you were already taking on the spiritual side, and how you linked up, came into TLC. You was already detoxifying spiritually. Now we get ready to go into the physical, and how that just synchronized and worked hand in hand. So yeah, the weapons of our warfare, my goodness, are not carnal.
Yes, absolutely.
And so going through the process to start pulling down those strongholds, that there are so many lessons in what you're talking about as far as your story is concerned, that I hope the audience are able to pull them out because there are so many principles that are being talked about this evening. So just keep going, please.
And it was like the minute that I drank the tea and I felt it and I felt what it was doing, it was like everything started to detoxify. And like I said, spiritually, but mentally and emotionally, it was, and I don't know if it was because of the physical, the changes that I felt, not on the outside, but I'm talking about on the inside, that began to transform
Mm-hmm.
with how I was feeling. Because emotional wise, as I began to detox, and yes, I was getting rid of some physical things, like I felt myself being lifted up, emotional wise, because I knew that this journey wasn't about anybody else. It was about me. And so if I knew that I had a purpose, and even though I didn't know at that time what it was, but I was on a search to find it, I was going to get rid of everything negative that was holding me back.
Mm.
And there talked about, stay away. Things stay away if it's not meant for you, if it's going to harm you. Really telling myself that I'm worthy of this, that I deserve this. I deserve to feel free. I deserve to feel mentally and emotionally free. And so even through this process, now I've gone back to, I'm still dealing with, because I'm still in counseling, still dealing with childhood things, getting rid of those issues, forgiveness, moving on. It was like a weight lifted off my shoulders in that process. And so with that, I can't help but talk about some of our products that I began to use, because not only with the tea, but the NRG, I felt myself lifting up, but taking that NRG to just really elevate my mood, to put me in that happy place, to give me the energy that I needed. Because when I say I was tired, I was tired. Working, I don't know if you've ever worked so much to try to avoid it.
All right, bear with us. She's having some technical difficulties. Hopefully, she can make it back.
All
Okay,
right, can you hear me? Okay. I don't know if you've ever worked so much and put so much energy into something to try to forget like what's really bothering you was at the forefront of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was doing. And so doing that, 16-hour shifts, 5 to 6 days a week, week in, week out, it was that NRG, that energy, because the Red Bulls, the coffee, the Mountain Dews, passed out at work. When I say it was almost like, I think the doctors told me that if I didn't get it together, it was going to be that I was 30 years old, like in a 45, 50-year-old body.
Ooh.
Because the foods I was eating, the things I was doing, it was just all wrong. Because when you're going through something emotionally, I'm an emotional eater. So I was eating all the wrong things, doing all the wrong things. And like I said, when the doctor said that, something had to change, right? And so that NRG, to lift those spirits, to now, having the energy, to want to live life, to enjoy life, to be who I know I am, was everything. And so I started also taking the resolution drops, to help with those cravings, because as an emotional eater, I was snacking like crazy. And I had to just get rid of some of these habits that were no longer serving me.
Right.
And so that boiled down to even the foods. So no longer serving me. And through this process, I have to go back to my spiritual journey, because of Total Life Changes, I met Greg and Lanika Scott and her prayer ministry. And so that began to even strengthen my spiritual growth even more. So now here's my mind growing, my body growing, my spirit is growing. And it all began to really sync and line in together. And so during this process, I'm still married, I'm still in the home, but I'm getting myself together. And I can say that through that process, there were many obstacles that I still had to fight through and overcome. But when I began to truly focus on myself and knew that I needed to pursue my purpose, that allowed me to be able to keep moving forward. And I moved back. I moved back to North Carolina last year, matter of fact. And I'll say that God has just truly shown his grace and his mercy, because when I took a step out on faith to leave, and I had to say, Lord, you got me. It's gonna happen. I don't know what direction you're leading me into, but I'm just going to trust you. And so I can say that I'm in a better place. My children are in a better place. And because of this amazing company, my children have been able to see and also benefit themselves, because they take the products, but also to benefit themselves of just, the self-development of what I've learned with TLC, I've been able to give to my children. And so for my entire family and household to be in a better place, to know that all things happen for a reason, that, what we went through, I had to go through that to become a better person. And a lot of people say that's crazy, but I seriously had to go through that to be the woman I am today. And so I'm thankful, I'm grateful, because had I not gone through that, I don't think I would have ever dealt with childhood issues. To me, was holding me back. Those childhood issues that I hadn't dealt with, holding me back. So everything that I went through, it allowed me to go back and deal with some things up until this point to become a better person.
Just, of course, when putting this podcast together and just getting my information, I couldn't help but notice the joy that your children have when they are literally taking the products right along with you. It's like an event. And I've watched several videos, and I'm like, this is a real event on a daily basis. Let's see, should make it back here. Yeah, but most definitely, this is a 360 experience, what she's describing. So when you hear, the CEO Jack Fallon talk about mind, body, and spirit, when you see and hear John LeCarre speaking of the same thing, there's something to it. Is the products are going to do what they're supposed to do, but there is a synergy that happens between mind, body, and spirit, and that's the whole goal as far as just experiencing TLC. And so you have a better understanding of why some of us even refer to TLC as an energy, because it's more than just taking products. And those products are a blessing, but the real miracle is you. All right, Twailla, what we was talking about was your children actually being a part of this process. Kind of talk about how they've developed, and I see the joy that they have in the videos when they are literally consuming the products right along with mama.
So my kids, anything that I know is good for me, I'm going to give it to my kids and at least let them try it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I first introduced the products to them, it was like, what is this? And I'm talking about the NutriBurst. And they was like, this is good. And so because I think they started watching how their bodies reacted after they took it.
Okay.
And so now they know it gives them energy. They can tell you that it gives them energy. It makes them feel good. And so to see that it's something healthy, nutritional for them, and that my habits have reflected on them and they pick them up, that's a true joy to me. But for them, like I said, with the NutriBurst, every morning it's like clockwork. They need their NutriBurst. They need that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't get it, if I don't give it to them, they know how to go in the refrigerator, pour it themselves, know how much to pour, and they can take it themselves.
Okay.
And so to just see that they want to do this, they have fun. They have their TLC kids shirts, the youngest ones. I have to order their shirts, but they're all excited. They want to represent this amazing company. They'll tell anybody the products work. They're my biggest supporters. They're my biggest fans. But they have watched their mother also on this physical journey.
Okay.
And I think that's the real thing that kind of got them, is this physical journey that mommy went on to be a better mom for them. And so that's, I think, what really got them, because now they have their mom back. So they're happy.
Oh, wow.
And
I know they're happy. Oh, absolutely. Now, let's not discount what has happened physically. I mean, I took a little trip down memory lane as far as kind of where you started and where you are now. Tell the audience as far as how much weight you have eliminated. Where does that stand now? What have you accomplished? I mean, we can look at the pictures, but we just want to hear it from your own mouth what these products have helped you accomplish.
Physically, I lost 70 pounds in 5 months. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And that was just really being consistent, but it was that commitment to myself. And so I think with anybody, that commitment that you have to yourself is so important. So my journey started with that commitment to myself, and now to be able to still continue to detox, work out, and just keep my body healthy. I think that's priceless for me. Because you couldn't have told me that I would feel this good at this point in my life, especially with what I've been through. You couldn't have told me that I would feel this good.
Oh, I don't think really anyone they have an expectation, but when they get to experience it, it's still mind blowing. I know even to this day, when I tell someone I will actually turn 51 next Thursday, but I'm in better health than I was at 31, and it feels amazing. I feel great, and so yeah, the products are amazing, but this whole process of getting that healing, not only in your physical body, but in your mind and in your spirit, it really shows now, because you know you have a voice. And when I say you have a voice, there is a level of authority that when you speak, people have to listen because they'll see your transformation, but they can feel when you speak. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that in the very near future, there's going to be a place carved out just for you, a path, just for you to be able to reach even more people, because there are a lot of individuals, especially women, that have somewhat similar stories, and they're looking for someone who has gotten on the other side of through. Because it's one thing, to talk about what you want to do, but it's an entirely different ball game when you can actually meet someone who has victory. So at this particular point, I'm led to ask you your thoughts on one word:
Mhm.
abundance.
Oh, when I think about abundance, I think about one, how abundantly blessed I am. I have to use it that way initially because the way God has blessed me, and how He keeps blessing me despite of um his it's abundantly. And when I think about abundance, I know that He has a plan and He has a future for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that is going to be abundant with whatever it is. But
Mm-hmm.
also, when I think about abundance, I think about His grace and mercy. Like when I hear that word, my mind goes straight to the blessings of God, and not just for me and other people's lives. Um, Abundance, I know that it is coming. The blessings are overflowing with abundance. And again, that's not just for me. I just feel it in the atmosphere. Like I talk about a shift, and that shift that I talk about has to do with the abundance of what God is doing. So for me, when I hear that, I smile because great things are happening, and He's abundantly blessing us. That's really what comes to my mind when I hear that word.
Yeah, I mean, we know why I was actually led to ask you that word, ask you about that word, because I made a transition in my thought process. Because in certain arenas, in certain environments, when we think about abundance, well, it's primarily pointed towards material. But it's something about once you done been through some things, you come to find out that actually the material it goes lower and lower and lower on that list, because we're looking for abundance of peace. We're looking for an
Yes.
abundance of joy. We're looking for an abundance in purpose. The whole idea of going through this process is to firmly place you in your purpose and walk it out with joy. And I'm thankful of the things that I've been through. It didn't always feel good, but it was for
Right.
my good, because it literally helped put me in the place of what I'm doing right now. So I'm very firm and sure of my assignment. And to have someone such as yourself come on this podcast, and this is a step. I just want you to know, I want you to be able to go back and look at this podcast, because the time is going to come where you're going to be down the road, because so much has happened. You would have touched so many people, but this is just a little small piece of the big assignment.
And I
And
received that.
and the opportunity to be able to walk with purpose, because there are so many of us walking around, we doing stuff, and some of us may even have talent to make it look like This is the things that we do, we're supposed to be doing, but it's not really fulfilling any purpose. And so to go to bed at night and not know where you fit in, what you're supposed to be doing, who you're supposed to be connected to, the only way you're going to get that clarity is to literally go through a mind, body, and spirit detoxification and have that reset button hit on your life all over again. And so our experience, through total life changes has allowed us to get to that place. So to see you not only speak about your story, because your story is amazing, even with what you shared here today, but the authority and the confidence and the power in which you actually speak from it, because there are those, and there's no problem. We're doing this, but sometimes because we're still in the midst of the struggle, we still have a lot of emotional attachment to it. But when we stand on top of our story, the authority in which we speak changes. Our posture changes. It's like, hey, look, I went through that. I'm good, but I'm no longer attached to the struggle.
Absolutely.
So I can tell you about how to get on the other side of through. So I know that you're going to touch a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people. Not only with your story, but your story is still developing. So it just don't end with, okay, you just got on the other side of through, because man, there's so much more. So I appreciate you just being obedient and walking out what you have walked out, to this point. If you wanted to, if you had the opportunity to leave some words of wisdom, to individuals, especially women who find themselves in less than ideal situations similar to yours, what wisdom would you speak to them today to help them along their journey?
To help someone along their journey, I'm going to first say, you got to seek help. You have to seek some help. You have to find somebody to talk to, because you need it. You're not, especially when you're in that dark of a place, you can't think clearly. It's not functioning clearly. It's not, everything's not going. So you need to seek counsel. But love you first. Out of everything else, you got to love you first, because if you don't, and it's funny because my mother always told me, you can't teach a man how to love you if you don't first love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, if you don't respect yourself, if you don't truly know yourself, you got to take that chance and risk on getting to know you and put yourself first. But seek help, because if you are one that is, I don't know what to do, you got to seek some help. Get someone to help you. But love you. You are worth it. You deserve it. First and foremost, you deserve it. And a scripture that I had to continue to read to myself is that I am fearfully and I am wonderfully made. And I had to keep telling myself over and over. So find something positive, something that relates to you, something that'll move your spirit, to keep telling yourself over and over. Because if you don't change that mindset and your perspective with what you have gone through, because I had to get to a point to understand that it had to happen. I'm glad it happened. And so if you change your perspective with what you're going through, with changing that mindset and being able to speak some positivity over yourself, that's going to help you get through it. But love you first. If that's the only thing you hear, is to love you first.
It's remarkable, but every guest that has been on here has spoken about that somewhere along the line. And folks that know me ought to know, my saying for that. You can't be anything to anyone until you are everything to yourself. We've got to start there. That's how we're able to experience the abundant life, because we grew accustomed to always giving out of a half-filled cup or even less. And so when it came time for us to get filled just a little bit, there was nothing there. So as we've made this transition into the abundant life, I would much rather give to you out of the overflow in the saucer. That's where I need to be able to give from, because if I happen to need some, I know that my cup runneth over. And watching individuals go through this transition, I recognize it because I've been through it now. I can recognize as I see the behavior, I see the spirit as to which people move and speak in. And it's so refreshing to watch you do what you do. Even when you're doing your videos, when you say one of your videos, matter of fact, it ironically was July 15th, which was my birthday last year. You started out by saying, hey, look, I'm at work. I need to do this video quick, but I got to be obedient. It was like a sense of urgency. You knew you had to do it. You had to speak that. And to be able to do that and do that within your purpose is amazing. That within itself brings an abundance of joy. And I guess that's where I really kind of, I don't want to say end, but I really want us to concentrate on that, because there's so much out here that tries to rob us of our joy. And you don't even realize the joy that you've been robbed of until you actually experience it genuinely. And you're like, man, I've been missing out on this for this long. Oh no, I ain't nowhere in the world I'm going back to that mess or any other mess that's gonna rob me of my joy. So this has blessed me. I know a lot of people are going to get help when they go back and look at the replay. And it's like, I know you're going to be back again. I just know that something major is going to happen. You're going to have to come back.
I received that. I received it.
You're going to have to come back. So one more subject I want to cover right quick before we end. We're right there at the end. Affirmations. What affirmations that you speak to yourself on a daily basis that is also congruent with your belief system and allows you to walk out the purpose on a daily basis the way that you do?
So it goes back to that scripture again. I am fearfully and wonderfully made, because who says? God says. And at the end of the day, that's all that mattered to me, was that I knew I was fearfully and wonderfully made. I tell myself I am worthy. I am worthy. And I say that over and over, and I still say it. I am a queen. I am a child of God. I had to tell myself that, to tell myself I'm worthy. I'm a child of God. I tell myself that I am created. I have some up here now. I am living in beauty, because I felt like, and I tell myself I am light, because I didn't feel like I was living in beauty, and I didn't feel like I was light. I was giving out light. I was giving out hope because of the dark place that I was in. So I had to tell myself that so I could become the light that I wanted to give out to other people. So I had to tell myself that. What else? There is nothing God's grace and the cross will not cover. Because a lot of times when we go through some things, we'll get down on ourselves. Is this karma? Is it, did I do something? Did I do something to deserve this? But the scripture tells me that when I ask for forgiveness, that I'm forgiven. And so a lot of times we'll hold ourselves captives because of the things that
just talk about it. Hey, look, I'm just going to sit back and just go ahead.
We have done. And life began to happen. And I had to understand they wasn't happening for me. I mean, they wasn't happening to me. They was happening for me because it was used for my good. But until I began to really understand that and say, hey, Twailla, you're human. You're going to make mistakes. You got to understand that and forgive myself. That was part of loving myself. I had to learn how to forgive myself as well to be able to move forward. And so those are the things that I still have to tell myself, because
Right.
I'm still human. I still make mistakes. I still want to make sure that I'm that light and I'm that beacon to the world. So
Oh no, she's gonna come back. No, this gonna get finished. Trust and believe.
all right,
Come on.
it's storming near my house, so my internet connection is unstable. But I had to keep telling myself that, because if I didn't tell myself what God thought about me and who God created me to be, then I was going to be stuck looking for validation from people, searching the world for my purpose, and trying to figure this thing out on my own. And it goes back to childhood. I thank God my mother raised me in church, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they get older, they won't depart. I had to get back to that. And so even now, I still have to tell myself these things. I have to tell myself I am fun, because sometimes I can get so caught up that I forget to have fun. So it's those little things. So whatever it is that I say, whatever it is that you want to change, put something positive towards that and speak that positivity to make that change. And that's what I had to do. And I still have to do. If you see my wall behind me, these are affirmations and things that I speak to myself. And they're not just right here. They're all over. They're over on all sides of my walls, on the ceilings of my walls, because I have to speak those things to myself. And it's okay. And a lot of people think, well, it might be crazy, but no, it's okay.
It's okay. It is okay. Twailla, you are a gift. I'm pretty sure you know that, but I just want to make that abundantly clear in front of the whole world so it can be heard. And I just know big things are getting ready to happen. So just get ready. Just get ready. Thank you so much for coming on the Victim No More podcast. You have truly blessed in these individuals. Not only have heard it live, but whoever is going to listen on the replay. I appreciate each and every one of you who have actually came and took part this evening. And I just want to make an announcement. I will actually be on break for the next couple of weeks. Next week, I'm celebrating my birthday. I'm going on vacation. And so I need to take some time for me. That's the balance that at once upon a time I did not have. So I can't talk about and tell people about having balance in their life, and then I don't exercise it myself. And then the next week, we're actually going to be in Orlando. So there is entirely going to be too much going on at that time to do the podcast. So we will be back on July the 28th. Of course, there's going to be another powerful guest that'll be on to share their testimony and their story of how they made the transition from being a victim to victorious. But once again, thank you so much, Miss Twailla. And don't go away. I'm getting ready to actually end the show, the live stream. But for those of you who haven't had an opportunity yet, please share this broadcast. Share the replay. I guarantee you somebody needs to hear what Twailla shared with us this evening. It is detrimental. It is that important. Remember, I love each and every one of you, and there's absolutely nothing, I mean nothing, you can do about it. Until next time, be blessed.
Like this.